So since I wasn't able to, we're not able to have a live class, I'll be sending this recording of our projects. So yes, last week I had given an assignment to produce this. So this is what you were meant to produce last week. So I'm just going to be going over this and showing you how you produce this. Okay, so we have set up our HTML file, and I'm just going to start typing the HTML structure. So in the title I have QR code, so that's showing up on this tab here. Then we go into the body and type in main. This is a tag. So when we're doing HTML, I talked about semantic HTML. That means writing HTML where somebody, like for the blind people, they use screen readers. So if you use a div, it will also work, but the proper way to do it is writing a main that shows like the main body of your HTML. A div will work, but as we go along, I want to show you proper ways of doing this. So we use a main tag, and in the main tag I will just go in with the image, and I would drag this image here and press shift. Image, I'll just type QR code here. So we have our image showing. Then let's show this one more time. So we can look at it this way when dissecting this image. This can be in one div or a block, and all these ones can be in another div, or just put this in another div. So everything here we can put it in another div here. So I will just come down, still inside this main, I will put this, I'll type a div and a h1 and what was written there, improve your front end skills. That's why we're doing this now. Okay, so that is showing up here. I can close this. Then for the p tag, that's for this bottom part here, this bottom part, it will still be in this div. We'll put a p tag and scan the QR code. Take your coding skills to the next level. So this is showing up here. So we have everything there, and that is basically it for our HTML. Very simple HTML, it's finished. So we're going to head on to CSS. Just going to make the CSS file and I will connect it to my HTML using the link tag. Okay, so should have connected it now. Close this. So this is what it looks like. This is how it's looking now. No CSS whatsoever. So we're going to start with the CSS now. So the first thing we'll do after connecting it is removing all this space. And in the last class I said we'll use the all selector. So I'll just come to my CSS, type Shift 8, that will give you this asterisk. Then I'll say padding 0, margin 0. So you can see that has removed all the spacing. That's step 1. Then let's go back to our design. You can see this thing is centered. It's in the center of this, like this one is your browser. That's what this out space represents. So this is centered. Now to center, in our last class we talked about flex. So this is like that blue, this white here represents that blue background. That's our browser, and now we want to center it. So the first thing we'll do, so the body now, this body tag, this body is the whole browser, represents this white place here. So the body now is the parent of this main. This main is everything from this blue tag to this place here. So let me just come here. Let me show you what it represents now. For this body now, we talked about borders, and I say it's important in styling. So for the body, I'm using the body element, just styling it directly. Let me give it a border of 1 pixel solid black or red so that you see it properly. So you can see, look at it here, is the whole browser. So that shows that the body is housing all these ones. Then for the parent, for the main, this main that we put here, let me style it here. I'll give it body too. Sorry, I'll give it a border. I'll just use main. Let's say border 1 pixel solid blue. Okay, so this main right now is going to take the whole width because of everything is there's no styling, so it's still going to take the whole width. But you can, if you notice, the blue is outside while the red is the blue is inside while the red is outside. So you can just see that the red is housing the blue, so the body is housing the main. That's all I wanted to show. So it will get, so let's start with the styling. So for the body, since we want it to be at the center, that's this thing at the center, we'll have to know the height. So we're going to give it a height of this whole screen so that it will know what it should center or how it should be centered. So we'll come here. For this body, you can say the height is the whole screen, and I said if you want to do the height the whole screen, you say 100 view height. View height is VH, so that's the whole screen. Then display flex. So this is what it looks like now. Then justify content center. I have to just be showing. So it has moved to the center. That's with that justify content center, it moved to the center. Then align items center. So right now it's in, because this thing is very big, that's why you might not really notice, but at least you've seen that it has moved to the center. Everything is now centered, but everything is still very big. We'll take care of that. So now we have our image centered. Then let's take care of this color, that background color. So I'm just going to copy what I've done so that we'll get the perfect color and place it here. So we've gotten the color of this. We've gotten the color. So now let's deal with the main. So for the main, we've given it a border. Then to sorry, 1 minute. Okay, so let's deal with this image here. It's quite big. Let's reduce it to size. So I want to make use of our selectors here and give it a particular selector in our HTML. So I can go to the HTML and type, I'll just name it code since this is a code. So I'll give it an ID of code. I'll come over here. So now I'm dealing with this image here. I want to reduce it. So we said when you're doing code, when you give a selector an ID, the sign for it is hashtag and the name you give it. So we gave it code, right? Let me check again. Okay, we gave it code. So I want to reduce the size. It's obviously too big. So let's reduce the size. You will play around with a lot of sizes, but this is what I came up with. This was the perfect size, 250 pixels. So I played a lot. I tried different sizes till I came up with this. It wasn't as if I just knew it's 250. I came up with different sizes before I came up with this. So it's looking much better. And then so that's for that. Then we'll now deal with our main. That's this blue thing now. Let's style it properly. At least now we can see this our code well. So for the main, obviously the width is too large. Compare it to, it's too wide with what we have here. So we're going to reduce the width. Once again, I played with different numbers until I came up with this one. So I'll give it a width of 250 pixels. Then we can see here there's like a space around it, this spacing. Our one doesn't have spacing yet. Where are we? Our one doesn't have spacing, but this one there's a spacing there. So we want to create this white space around it. So to create spacing, like I said, what we'll do is padding and 10 pixels. That's what I used, and I gave it a background because you can see it's white, so I gave it a background color white, background color of white. Everything is now white. Okay, so this one is looking pretty good. Let's go to this improve your front end skills. So let's go back to our HTML. So now we're dealing with this div. So this div, I want to give it a class of info to help us style. You can name it anything. I named my own info because it's like information on this, so I just named it info. So for class, in our last class, we said you style class using dot. So dot info and our brackets. So for this info, I'm just going to give it let's see, I'll give it a padding of, let's see, 10 pixels. Let's see, so padding of 10 pixels. Okay, I'll see whether we'll still keep this when we reduce. Okay, yes, padding of 10 pixels, that will be good. Then obviously this doesn't look the same as this. It's obviously too big, so I'm going to style the H1 excuse me, the H1 in our HTML. I'll give it a class of header. Then come over to our style sheets and header. So I want to reduce the font size. I played around with a lot of sizes and I came up with 20 pixels. 20 pixels. We'll even see 20. Let me see. Okay, 20 pixels is good enough. Then text align center, let's try and center it more. That's, we're going to center the, yes, what we centered this text here. Then if you notice there's space now from here to here, there's space, so we'll give it a padding to give it space. So I'll say padding bottom because we want space at the bottom. So padding bottom, I gave it 7 pixels, so there's a bit of space, or maybe even 8. So that's 7 is looking small. Let me even see. There's more space than that one, so let me say 10. Oh no, it doesn't even seem to be. Okay, then so I think that is looking okay. Then for this p tag now, we'll go back to, okay, we can just style it. It's the only p tag there, so let me just style it using the p tag element, using the p tag as the selector. So for the p tag, let's give it a border. Let's see what we're doing. Border 1 pixel solid red. So we want to style that part now. So let's reduce it because here you can see it's pretty small. So let's give it, so this one is like 16 pixels, so we'll just reduce it a bit. Font size, let's say 14 pixels. Let's see how it will be compared to what we have here. Let's make it 15 pixels. Okay, then if you notice, this one here is centered. So we'll do text align. And the more you code, the more you just know what to do. You get used to it, because if you're asking how did I know is text aligned, that's the more you code, those things will not all will stay. Some you need to Google, but there are some that will just stay in your head because you do it over and over and over, that it will stay in your head. You know what to do when you see it. Then the color too, this one has, you can see the color is different. So let me just copy the color here, copy the color and place it. And in that front end mentors, they will give you like the style, the specific style. So all these colors I'm getting, you can see that this one matches perfectly. This, you see, matches perfectly. They will provide that which for you, even the font self, they'll provide that. But I don't just want to go into so many details. I really want to take this thing easy and see what people are coming up with, because if I bombard you with all this information, you might just say, you're not doing it again. So I left these things out. All I was just interested in seeing was you seeing how you can attempt to get the basic structure. That was all I was interested in seeing. So now, if you notice, let me remove all these borders here on my own. Let's see. Okay, so we're going to remove all these borders. We don't need them again. They have helped us in visualizing what we are styling. And right now we've gotten the basic style. So we're just doing the finishing touches. So if you notice now, for this one here, there's that the edges are curved while our own is sharp. So all we're going to do is just curve the edges. This our own might even looking bigger than that one. Well, doesn't really matter like that. So we'll just curve all the edges. Even inside, you can see all the edges are curved. Just a simple thing to do. So to curve your edges, like for this main now, we're going to curve the edges. So what you just do is border, the property is border radius, then you give it a value. I gave it a value of 7 pixels. You can see it's curved. Maybe this is our padding. Maybe we'll increase it small. It's not looking okay. So you can see it's curved. Maybe I'll make it 8 pixels. Okay, anyway, it's curved. Then same thing for the QR code itself. I'm just going to copy this one here and go to our image. Border radius 8 pixels. So you can see it is curved here. And that is basically it. So we have our design and we've implemented it, your basic QR code. So I am going to send another assignment, and please, I would like you to do it, because next week, honestly, we'll be rounding up this course. We'll be starting off our final project. So please do it. If you have any problem, because I'm not even sure I'm going to go over it, since we'll be starting our course, the project next week. If you have any problem, just message me on the WhatsApp group. Okay, that will be all for today.